Hi, and welcome to the Classic Advice Podcast. My name is Scarlett Classic, and I'm so happy that you could join me today. I am going to put a bunch of links in the show notes. So, any of the websites that I'm about to mention, my Gmail, my Facebook group, it's all going to be in there. So, if you're out for a walk, don't worry about needing to write anything down. It's all going to be in the show notes that you can go back later and look. But before we start, I want to give a shout out to two people. One of them is Dave Campbell, and the other one is Tamzin Hall. Dave is a fellow Canadian. Hi, Dave. And Tamzin, hi Tamzin, is way over across the continent, across the pond in the UK. Love the UK. I lived there for 9 months, Tamzin. It's a beautiful country. Anyways, so I digress. Dave has many a podcast, but he has one in particular called the How to Podcast series. I listen to it on Spotify, but I'm sure you can find it in other locations. I am going to put his website address in my show notes, so it's there. It's howtopodcast.ca. And Tamzin was a co-host on his podcast about podcasting, and she is just I've never met either one of them, and they just seem like such wonderful people. And when I'm done recording this and I have it posted, I'm going to contact both of them and just tell them that because of them, they gave me the courage and the boost that I needed to do this. And I am just so grateful to them, and they're very, very motivational and inspiring, and I want them to know that. So thank you, Tamzin, and thank you, Dave. You guys are amazing. Keep doing what you're doing, and I love listening to you guys. So without further ado, let's jump right into the episode. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about anger management and what I do, and then I would love if you guys wanted to send me an email or join my Facebook group, and we could talk on there about maybe ways that I didn't mention that you guys do, and it works for you, and we could all grow and have this community and share and do life together and just become a better version of Scarlett or a better version of Tamzin or Dave than we were yesterday, because I'm a very firm believer of not being in competition with anybody other than myself. And I tell my kids that all the time, and it's good, because if I were to compare myself to, say, Tamzin, or if I were to compare myself to Dave, who has, I believe 7 podcasts right now and a full-time job that I'm aware of. I mean, I haven't listened to his entire podcast, so maybe he's at a different stage in his life now than when he was, because I'm still listening to 2023's episodes, and it's now 2024. But I don't know how Dave does it. But you're like superhero or something. But, if you compare yourself, and this is my very first episode ever. So can you imagine if I were to compare myself to somebody else? Well, that's not being very fair to me, is it? Because I'm not at where Tamzin's at, and I'm not at where Dave's at. Dave has, I don't even know how many episodes out right now, and this is my very first one. So why would I compare myself to them? Right? So same thing, vice versa. One of the reasons why I wanted to start this podcast was because I've been in the depression. I've been in the anxiety. I have PTSD. I know what it's like. My therapist, my psychologist, my psychiatrist, to my knowledge, don't deal with that. And some of the things that I would tell them, I felt like they didn't understand, because personally, they've never been there. But these are the things that work for me that I want to share with you, because I've been there, I've been in that mud, and I've gotten myself out. And it's a hard thing to do. And this podcast isn't going to be only about mental health things. It's going to be about just like everything advice that I've learned growing up, and being divorced and raising boys and remarrying and having a successful marriage. We've been together for 8 years, and I love this man more than I did when we first got together. So I think we're doing something right. But anyways, I feel like I'm going on a tangent. So let's steer the boat back to what we were going to talk about today, which is anger management. So breathing, journaling, meditation, mindfulness, self-care, hobbies. That's what I do to bring my anger level down and bring myself back to earth, so to speak. So let's dive a little bit deeper on each of these topics. So breathing, what do you mean, Scarlett? What are you talking about? I don't mean no, that's just gonna like skyrocket your anxiety. Don't do this. That should go without being said. But deep breathing. Now, some people may say, oh, breathe in for 7 seconds, hold for 4, breathe out for 7. I mean, you can do that if you want. Personally, I like to just breathe in as far as my lungs will allow. I'll hold for a few moments and I'll breathe out as far as my lungs will allow. And everybody's lung capacity is different. So the 7 seconds, 4 seconds, I don't think is a very good guide because, everybody's lungs are different. So that's what I do. And when you do that, this kind of leads into a little bit of the meditation aspect, but I picture myself in a place, and it's actually a specific moment in time in my past where I was at complete peace and complete and utter happiness. And I'll describe it to you. I was living in Romania at the time. I lived over in Romania for 5 years. I was in Spain for 3 months, and I was in England for 9 months. So while I was in Romania, I was working at a kids camp, and I was in charge of the horses, and it wasn't a very big camp. We only had 3 horses and a pony. And part of in the corral, the roof kind of overlapped into the corral space a little bit. And I remember being at the horses, doing my thing, and I just saw this wall of rain coming towards me. It was the most, I'd never seen that again in my life, but it was really incredible to see that. And it just came closer and closer and closer to me. And I was like, well, I could run to the ranch house or I could stay here. And I decided, I was like, no, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to stay here and just hang out with the horses. So I put my broom down and I climbed up on Bono's back. He was one of my horses. And I just lay down on his back, and he loves this. He loves to cuddle. He was so cute. So, and I just laid down, and it just started a downpour. And you know that you can actually get apps for this to help you fall asleep where it sounds like rain. And it's just so soothing. And I loved it. I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't being very productive, but I was like, I'm going to take this moment and just enjoy it. And so when I deep breathe, I bring myself back to that moment when I was with my horse and just the rain, and it's so calming. So that's what I do. And you can pick, sitting on a beach in Mexico or whatever. It doesn't necessarily have to be a specific moment in your life. Maybe you've never been to Mexico like me, and it just seems like a really nice thing, and the sun hitting your face, and you're in that lounge chair, and maybe you're playing with the sand in your hand, and the waves are rolling in, and it's just, everything smells so fresh and salty, and it can be whatever you want to do, but just that deep breathing. Secondly, journaling. So I don't mean getting a book out and I did dishes, I made lunch, I went to work, I had coffee with so and so, I came home, I did chores, I made dinner. No, I don't mean what you did through your day. I mean, what emotionally are you going through right now? What are you feeling right now? And let loose on the page. And there is just something about putting your thoughts and how you're feeling onto paper, and you can say whatever you want on there. You know, you can get those journals that actually have a little padlock on the front. Or when you're done with your journal, burn it. Then nobody's going to read it, and you don't have to worry about your spouse reading it or your kids reading it. In my house, I write with cursive, and nobody can read cursive anymore, so I don't have to worry about it. um you know, or maybe I'll journal in Romanian. Just what's the chances of a Canadian knowing Romanian? Not a whole lot of Romanians in Canada. I mean, there are some, but anyways, I digress. Emotionally, what you're going through, and it works. I actually have a journal in my purse, and it comes everywhere with me because I never know when I'm going to feel like I need it and I'm not going to have it. I don't journal every day, and you don't have to journal every day, but use it when you're feeling overwhelmed because it works. It really does work, and it might take you a while to get into the groove and the habit of going there when you're upset, because it did take me a while to get in the habit of going there when I was upset. But once I got into the habit of doing that, and that's why I say I have it in my purse and I take it everywhere with me, because that way, if I'm in the, like, we live out in rural Alberta, and so when we go into Edmonton, it's an all day thing. Well, if something happens at 2 o'clock and I'm triggered for whatever reason, and I'm having a hard time, maybe doing the breathing exercises isn't quite enough. I need to do my journaling too to really bring myself and center myself and bring myself back down. And I don't have it. I almost panic now because I'm reliant on it so much, because it works. It does work. So I would really encourage you to do that. And maybe, like, my husband's dyslexic, maybe writing the words on the paper isn't going to work for you because writing is just hard. There's like, I have an Apple iPhone, and I'm sure you can get these little apps for Android as well, but I have a little voice memo thing on my phone. You could use that as your journal and talk to yourself and delete it after if you don't want to have, if maybe you say something on there that you're like, oh, I'm worried about so and so hearing it, delete it. Is that's the joy of journaling, is it is only for you. It's like your thoughts. If all the people in the world knew your thoughts, nobody would probably be friends, because our thoughts are crazy. They're nuts. And they go and they're just like, what? Did I just think that? I mean, even the thoughts about ourselves aren't very nice sometimes. So it's like, yeah, you don't want those things advertised. So delete it. When you're done the journal, burn it. I don't care. Do whatever you got to do. Moving on. Meditation. So meditation, for me, I mean, I'm not Buddhist, but I'm spiritual, I guess you could say. I like my crystals. They're pretty rocks. I like having them around. So typically what I'll do is my window faces of my bedroom, sorry. My bed sits right kind of in front of the window. So what I do is I'll sit on my bed if it's really cold, because, like, we had a cold snap. It was -50 at our house. typically I like to meditate outside, but I'm not going outside in -50 trying to meditate and calm down. No, thank you. I'm a Canadian and I'm a wuss when it comes to the cold. So no. I'll sit on my bed. I'll have it so that my face faces the window. And typically by the time like the sun does come around to that window quite early, so I have the sun shining in and I can look outside and just sit and be in the moment. You can do your deep breathing at the same time as your meditation. Like I said, some of these they work well when you do them together. And just be in that moment. You know that saying, wherever you are, be all there? Right now, I am sitting on my bed with the laptop on my lap. I've got 2 dogs having a nap at the foot of the bed. And I'm in this moment solely focused on you and bringing my message to you. That's all I'm doing right now. I'm not thinking about what I have to do after this. I'm not thinking about my kids. I'm not thinking about my husband. I'm not thinking about anything else, work, except what I'm doing right now. And that's what you do when you meditate. And that's also what mindfulness is. So they kind of all tie together here really beautifully, but they all wonderful, nice little neat bouquet. But that's what mindfulness is as well, is being centered in the moment. Practicing mindfulness is, I'm kind of jumping a little bit ahead, so I'm going to go back to the meditation, but sitting in the moment, do some deep breathing exercises, really focus yourself, visualize. This is what I do. I visualize breathing in light and exhaling all the negativity and the whatever negative emotion I'm feeling at the moment. It could be sadness, it could be grief, it could be anger. And I visualize light coming in and sometimes say black smoke or red smoke coming out. That anger, that red, hot, black, just coming out. All of that, just releasing it and visualizing it. I'm a very visual person, so it's very easy for me to do. I visualize the light coming in and visualize that going out. So that's meditation. Now let's jump into mindfulness, because I kind of jumped ahead and now I'm circling back. But so mindfulness is practicing being in the moment completely. So right now, if I wanted to practice mindfulness, I am totally and completely 100% focused on what I'm doing right now. I'm talking to you. I can feel the bed underneath my legs. I can feel the pillow behind my back. I can feel that it's a little bit cold in here, because we keep our house cool. And I can feel my ankle hurt a little bit. I broke it about a month and a half ago. I broke my ankle, so I'm feeling that right now. So mindful, and you can do mindfulness all day. Like, sometimes if I'm finding it hard focusing at work, I'll ground myself like that. I'll put both feet firmly on the floor. I'll sit up straight in my chair and I'll just kind of center myself. Okay, I'm feeling the floor under my feet. I'm feeling, okay, here's my pen. Okay, I'm focused now. I am completely 100% only in this moment. So that's mindfulness. Self-care, hobbies. So those are two, but they kind of tie into each other like meditation, mindfulness, and deep breathing do. So self-care makes you feel good because it can be, brushing your teeth, showering, or having a bath, washing your face. It could be doing your hair and then taking your hair out at night. That feeling, if you don't have long hair, you might not understand this, but when you have your hair up and it's in an updo all day, and it might even be, I don't like to put up my hair in really tight styles, but say for the purpose of this episode, you put it up in a ponytail, you have it in a ponytail all day, and then that feeling when you take it down, oh, that feels so nice. And taking care of yourself, it makes you feel good. Just like when you get up and, like, for me, I wear a little bit of eye makeup. I always do my hair in some sort of style. It doesn't necessarily need to be fancy, but I do something. And I work in a welding office, or welding shop office, so I don't really dress up, but I dress nice. And that just in and of itself, it's good because you look good and you feel good. If you don't shower and you don't brush your teeth and your mouth feels gross and your hair is greasy and maybe your face is oily, you feel bad. You feel gross, or at least I do. So when I have the shower and I take care of myself, and sometimes as busy people, it's like, when do you have time to shower? You just have to make the time. You need to prioritize you. So self-care. You are important. So nobody else is going to take you for a shower. Maybe when you're 89. But we're not there yet. All right, moving on to hobbies. So hobbies kind of, I kind of see them as a self-care thing too, because you need to give yourself that time. You need to treat yourself to that hobby because it's important. If all you do is work, then of course your anger is going to be there because you're not rewarding yourself and giving yourself time to relax and enjoy the things that you like doing. Right? So, for me, for example, I work a full-time job. So I get up, I take the kids to school, then I take myself to work, then I go pick up the kids from school, then I come home, and then I have to take care of the dogs, and then I have to make dinner, and then I have to maybe clean something, and then I have to, and it just goes on and on and on and on. Well, when do you say, you know what, that can wait? I'm going to go do this, and I'm going to go read my book. I'm going to take some time for me, and I'm going to go do this because it's going to make me happy, and I need to take time for me. It's okay to take time for you. It's okay to shut the door and say, no, making this podcast is important to me. It's my hobby. I really want to do it. And yes, it's not just for me because I'm talking to you. And I'm going to get to know people like Dave and Tamzin. And it brings me joy. And it's my hobby. I want to do this. So I make the time in my day to do my hobbies, to empty my cup. Now, what do I mean by empty my cup? All right. Now, this is the third kind of portion that I want to talk to you guys about. It's the cup, the anger cup. So visualize for me that you have a cup. And every time you get upset or angry or irritated about something, it goes into the cup. So, okay. My dog threw up on my couch, and now I have to clean it up, and it's so disgusting. This is, bleh. Ugh. Why? Why couldn't you just hop off the couch, and then I could clean it up off the floor, and then it would be easy peasy 2-second job, as opposed to now I have a couch I have to wash. It's not like I can just throw it in the washing machine. So that goes in your cup. Okay, something else happens. You told your kid to go do dishes, and for the 10th time, he's still playing on his phone. That's irritating, isn't it? I don't like telling him 10 times to do something. But he's a kid. Sometimes I'm going to have to tell him 10 times to do something. So that goes into your cup. Now, okay, say your cup, the things keep getting added. Now your cup is 3/4 full. It's almost full. Something else happens. Okay, now it's like almost to the top, and it's almost going to spill over. Something else happens, and now you're overflowing. Your cup has no more room. You are at your limit. You're getting upset. You're getting angry, and you scream. You throw something. You yell. You snap. You snap because your cup is full. How do we empty the cup? I just told you. You deep breathe. You journal. You meditate. You practice mindfulness. You do that self-care, and you let yourself have your hobbies. Let yourself have the hobbies. I don't care if your house doesn't look like it belongs on Pinterest. Your house should be lived in because you live in it. So you know what? Leave what you can and give yourself some time for you to do all these things because you deserve it. You're amazing. And you deserve to be happy and not angry. All right. So that is all I have for you guys today. I am going to put in the show notes my email address. Should you want to email me, I would love to hear from you. Love, love, love. Tell me what you liked about this episode. Tell me what you didn't like about this episode. I'm learning. Tell me about what works for you for anger. What do you do to empty your cup? Let's share these things. Join my Facebook group. I'm going to put the name of it in my show notes. It is a bit of a mouthful. My email is ClassicAdvicePodcast@gmail.com. That one's easy. But my Facebook group is a little bit of a mouthful. It is. Are you ready? Classic Advice Podcast group with Scarlet Classic. And currently, I'm the member. So come join me. Let's talk about this. Alrighty. Well, I thank you guys so much for joining me. And don't forget about Dave and Tamzin. Go visit them. Go say hi. So thank you guys so much for joining me. And we'll see you next time. Bye.